to bring in now former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay into this conversation. Peter, thanks for being here. If we can, your thoughts too. I think we were maybe expecting maybe some policy announcements or at least something that was maybe going to be a little bit more newsworthy. But what were your thoughts on the Prime Minister's address today?
Well, I think he was sort of reiterating some of what was said in front of a Davos audience, which may not resonate in the same way that it did in Switzerland to a crowd of people that the Prime Minister is quite familiar with. For those in Canada who are concerned about making their mortgage payments, maybe saving for their kids' college, paying groceries, this is something that maybe needed a little translation. I'm not sure that it hit the mark. It seemed like a little bit almost Trumpish to be trumpeting what has been accomplished by his government when he talks about, the interprovincial trade barriers being down. I don't think we're there yet. Having fiscal capacity, that's somewhat questionable. A lot of the announcements are just that. They're not budgeted for yet. So there is, a tone for the moment with respect to standing up to the Americans, diversifying our economy, signing more trade agreements. I think a lot of folks would be happy just to capitalize on the trade agreements that we have. And, talking to others, there is still some discomfort with strategic partnerships with China because, as been alluded to by many, there isn't really a shared value set there. And in fact, China's been singled out in a foreign interference inquiry. We know that theft of intellectual property, human rights abuses, including having taken Canadians into custody and executed Canadians, that doesn't jibe well in comparison to partnerships with democratic countries.
Certainly, I think a lot of Canadians understand what Mark Carney is trying to do with some of these, as you mentioned, the partnerships around the globe. But I'll go back to some of the criticism that I've been reading too and seeing this week, that he was also elected on a pledge to get a trade deal with the United States. Now, we have the renegotiation of CUSMA coming up this year, clearly, and there's been working towards it. But the Prime Minister, again, responding directly to remarks from Donald Trump again today, which doesn't feel like it's going to necessarily help that current relationship right now. So where do you think things stand? And is that a fair criticism of the Prime Minister here as we get into, for 1 month through 2026?
Well, yes, I think it is, because, look, he was elected really on that one major promise, that he was the adult in the room. He had the resume for it. He was a businessman. He could deal with Donald Trump, and he would get a deal in short order. Those were his words. And so when you look at the track record and the narrative that's emerging on where we've parted company with the Americans, first there was reciprocal tariffs, there was the whole elbows up nonsense during the campaign itself, then elbows down, then visits that didn't go exactly as we'd hoped, references to the 51st state, the Greenland saber rattling, but then more substantively going off to China and suggesting somehow we were going to go a different route. Differing with the Americans on recognition of the Palestinian state. With respect to the speech itself, while he didn't name the president, it was very clear who he was talking about at various parts of that. And then again today, the president shot back quite directly and essentially said, keep your head up. This does not bode well heading into the USMCA or CUSMA renegotiations that are happening in a few months. We are probably further away now from getting a deal than we were when Mark Carney started just 9 months ago.
For former Foreign Affairs Minister Peter MacKay, appreciate your time today, Peter. Thank you for this.
You're welcome. Thank you.